Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're talking all about my favorite neutral makeup for summer. I'm going to go through different categories and give you a handful of ideas, and I will be doing my makeup along as I talk about my favorites here. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. I always start with the eyes, so we're gonna go into eyeshadows first. And the first one here from Dior is the shade called Beige Mitza. And this one here is stunning. This is a great one and done if you want. Neutrals don't have to be one and done, but if you want something very simple, this one could be it here. Now this is the older formula. There has been a reformulation. This is the original flavor from just a few months ago. The newer version, I don't have it here to swatch to compare, but this could be a good option. Speaking of newer reformulations, I have the shade Brun Talpa from Chanel, and this is a new reformulation here. This new formula from Chanel is exquisite. It is worth the money, worth the upgrade in my opinion. I find it to be creamier and softer. So these ones here, they're similar, but there is a little bit of nuance. They're both in the neutral taupe category, but there's a subtle difference that, you know, plausibly I could own both and be very happy. And guess what? I have both and I'm very happy, because the one from Chanel I find is more cool toned, whereas the one from Dior is slightly warmer. They stay neutral, but there is a little bit of nuance. Another single option here would be the Chantecaille Luminescent Eye Shade in Elephant. This one here is more of a gray taupe. So it's neutral-ish, but you'll see it's much more gray than the other ones. And this one here is also more metallic. It's more shiny. So it's in a beautiful harmony. This would be a great little trio on its own. We have these ones here, but then I also have some palettes that I think would be nice. Usually when I wear one of these, I wear them as a one and done, and I'm a bit surprised that the Elephant shade looks almost more like a smoky gray compared to the taupe color up here, the Talpa. Much more cool toned. Now I have two quads. I think this one here, the first one from Dior, this one's Poncho. I think it might lean a little bit more warm. We're gonna go ahead and swatch it. Like, it looks neutral, but there's another one that I'm going to swatch that I think in comparison might make it look warm. It has some peachy shades, which are nice, but they may not exactly be what I'm looking for, but it's still a wonderful palette. It's still a beautiful, neutral, warm leaning. So it's a great option. I love Poncho. I think it's a very underrated palette from the brand. It kind of looks boring in the palette, which is usually what works best. The ones that look really dull are the most beautiful on the eyes. And I mean dull in the color wheel. Just, you know, there's no purple or yellow, just very basic. But this next one here, Soft Cashmere, I think it honestly is one of my favorite palettes that I own in total. But as far as neutrals go, I think this would be the one that I would recommend the most. Like, if you just want a neutral eyeshadow palette, I would say get Soft Cashmere. Here is Soft Cashmere up here. It is much more true neutral. The palette itself has a nice blend of mattes and satin, and it has a nice blend of more true neutral, slightly cool, and slightly warm. So if you just want one palette, I would say go with Soft Cashmere. And I'm just going to sit here and stare for a moment and just sort of decide what to dive into. We will just go into Soft Cashmere. It'll just be the easiest. I'm using a Refer 15 Mini. All the brushes that I'm using are listed down below. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that color there. And I'm going to sweep it pretty generously all over the lid. If you would like me to do another version of this, maybe best warm toned makeup or cool toned makeup for the summer, I definitely have some beautiful orangey red lipsticks that I could do a video on, pair them with blushes, sort of do a pairing combination. You know, like if you're wearing this blush, match it with this eyeshadow. So if you'd like to see that, leave a comment down below. And if you are not subscribed to my channel yet, I highly encourage you to do so. I know many of you who watch me are not subscribed yet, so please just take a moment to do that. Now I think what I'll do is using just a flat brush like this. This is the Rephr 02 Max. I'm just going to pick up some of this color here, and I'm going to pack it on the lid. And I love this palette because I just find that everything just melts together and is very cohesive. You can pull the palette more towards one look or the other, but I just find that all the shades are very cohesive. So it's a bit of a no-brainer palette. It always looks quite lovely. I'm going to add a little bit of definition with the Rephr 14, and I'm going to go into the matte color. Now I'm knocking this on a tissue, the excess, because there's just a lot, and it is summer, so I would like this to not be too heavy. So I'm just going to go straight into the crease. I'm not going into a half moon, I'm really going straight back and forth like a straight line like this, just to define the crease. Moving on, I have an eyeliner here. It's from Victoria Beckham. Listen, Victoria Beckham Beauty, as far as their eyeliners go and their lip glosses, 10 out of 10. I mean, the whole brand in general, but those two categories I find are spectacular. This is the eyeliner in Cocoa, and it's just, no pressure goes a long way. It's not even a little bit goes a long way. It's like you just barely drag it and you get such rich saturation. So I think a nice cocoa color will go nicely. If you have a black, that works as well, but I just think cocoa works best with this. So I'm just going to go into the tight line here, so into the waterline, and then I'll add just a little bit out here, but there's a little sponge tip applicator on the other side, so I'm just going to blend that out. For the eyes, I'm going into the Valentino mascara. I'm trying out some Valentino Beauty. I thought I would try the mascara first because that's pretty easy and basic. I've been trying it off camera now for a few days. It's fine. It's not earth-shattering. It had really good reviews online. It was highly rated on the Sephora site. I think it's good. I'll do one side and I'll show you how it looks compared, but I just think that the YSL mascara is better. It's meant to give volume and length and drama, and it does do that, but I don't know. I think there's just a little something missing. I'm going to keep using it. Like it isn't terrible by any means. It just doesn't look wow, if that makes any sense. So there we go. I mean, at the end of the day, it does look pretty dramatic. You can see one eye with and one eye without. So I'm not really sure what my problem is with this mascara. I just find that I really have to build it up a lot to get it here. So we'll see. I find sometimes mascaras evolve from day one into a couple of weeks. Sometimes the formula is too wet or too dry. This one is fine. I don't know. I just think the first time I used it, I thought it was okay. And it is good. It just takes a lot of time to build up, I find. For the base, we are just going into a skin tint. No need for a real foundation in the summer. I'm using my Les Beige Water Fresh tint, and I'm using medium plus for the summer months. This is really a skin tint. It blurs very lightly, in a very sheer way, but it is nice because the coverage is so light. So when you start to sweat your face off, it doesn't really shift very much because it doesn't cover much to begin with. So I'm going to do 2 pumps here. Now that that's done, let's go into the Armani Luminous Silk Concealer. So apparently Armani is going to be coming out with a new foundation in a few months. And I talked about it in a Will I Buy It? And I said, you know, what's Armani doing coming out with a new foundation? They've already done the Holy Grail. They already have Luminous Silk, but they're coming out with a new one. And I'm really intrigued because it's going to be a foundation that comes with its own little brush. I hope it's light because these days I really don't want to wear a foundation. I love makeup, but I just find that It's so hot out, first of all, and I find that my skin looks better with less foundation, so I don't really feel like wearing anything too heavy. So I have a couple new brushes here from Refer. This is part of the concept store. These are two new synthetic brushes, and they are specifically for cream or liquid. So I'm going to use this one, the small one, for concealer, and this one I'll do for bronzer here in a minute. I like this shape. This is like a pretty good shape. It's not quite, my favorite concealer brush at the moment is the one from Prada Beauty. This one's more rounded, but it's like a similar-ish shape, so should be good. Part of the thought behind it is having darker brushes might help with staining, because even when you wash your brushes, sometimes the makeup stains the bristles. So it's interesting. And honestly, the packaging or the shape of these new ones here reminds me of NARS. I thought that they were NARS brushes at first. I was like, oh, NARS sent me some makeup brushes. No, these are from Refer. So this is working nicely. It reminds me also of the BK Beauty one. BK Beauty also has a very similar shaped brush. I think that this one here from Refer is smaller and lighter than the one from BK Beauty. There's no like silver or gold clasp. It's just like I was gonna say in unison, but it's just more uniform. So I'm just blending it out. When I first started using that BK Beauty concealer brush, I wasn't a fan. I had to sort of, like, it grew on me. Some products grow on you. Some products you try once and you're sold forever. The one from BK Beauty, like this shape in general for concealer brush, has grown on me. I like that you can go like this in the crease, but historically I prefer just round ones, but now I like these. So it works very nicely to blend out concealer. Now let's go on to bronzer slash contour. I have two products here that I thought of off the top of my head. The first one is from Westman Atelier. This is the contour stick in Biscuit. It's very nice. I like this one a lot. It's very creamy, very buttery, and very easy to blend, but if you want something more powdery, might I suggest the RMS bronzer in Tan Lines. This one here is luminous, so you could use this as like a bronzer and highlighter, 2-in-1. I think I might skip highlighter because I'm very warm in the heat wave here, but you can tell that the RMS one looks more golden in comparison. So I'm going to go into Westman Atelier because I want something more neutral. Now taking the larger one, this is the B04. Yes, just going to blend this out. I feel like it's a good shape for contour or bronzer. I don't know if it replaces my 04 because that's my favorite one, but it works really nicely. And this one is more for cream or liquid. I have the 04, no judgment, it's really dirty right now. That's what I would use for a powder, and I often use it for a cream as well, but you can tell this is a completely different product. So I may actually just add a little bit more of Biscuit. I like that it's a soft color. It adds definition, but it's very neutral. And so it never looks orange, it never gives me that like Oompa Loompa-esque vibe that some products do, so okay. Now let me go into a blush. I have two options here. I have the satin finish one from Dior. This is the shade called Charnel. This is really pretty. Someone in the comments told me that they use this one as bronzer and blush, and I could see that. It's one of those like your cheek but better colors. It's very light, it's satiny, it's really pretty. But then I have this new one from NARS called Behave. And if I'm not mistaken, Behave is like your cheek but better as well. And when I think of a neutral blush, that's what I think of. Not too pink, not too orange, just my cheek but a little bit better. I would say that Behave looks more pinky compared to Charnel. Charnel almost has a coppery bronze quality to it in comparison. So I think both of these could be pretty. You know what? Maybe I'll just add a little bit of both. I'll just pick up a little bit and I'll knock off some of the excess because I don't want to go too hard. But on the back of the hand, I swear that this looked more pink, but when you apply it, it just looks like a healthy flush. And this one here is more matte, whereas the other one has a satin glow. I think that this is very pretty on its own. I'm just going to add just a tiny bit of this one because this one has a satin finish, and this will be like my highlighter and blush 2-in-1. Now I have to say that the NARS blush is incredibly long lasting and long wearing, so it's good to use it as a little bit of a base for a summer heat wave. I have a couple lip options here. I might do a little combination. I have the Chanel Rouge Allure number 196 à demi-mot. It's a beautiful neutral nudie lip color. I think I want to go for like a sort of monochromatic look. But I have this one here from Dior. This is the shade 625 Mitza, and this one is more of a velvet. It's maybe a little bit more pink. But over top, I was thinking of adding a little bit of gloss. This is the lip oil from Guerlain. This is the 309, and it's like a nudie, pinky brown. I really like this velvet color from Dior, but I think it's a little bit too pink for this look here. So I will save it for another look. I'm going to go into my Chanel Rouge Allure Velvet. No, just Rouge Allure. I think this will be better for this look here. And then adding the Guerlain lip oil over top, just to be extra. Now, 2 final touches. The first one is the setting spray. So I want to do setting spray and perfume. Please do not mix up these orders, the setting spray and the perfume. I feel like if I put perfume on my face, I may as well just drive to the emergency room. So let's just be careful. This is the setting spray right here. This is the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip setting spray. This stuff is very good. I think that this, the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray, the Dior Backstage setting spray, and the Urban Decay setting spray, they're all great across the board if you want something to just lock your makeup down all day in the sun, in the sweat. However, there is one caveat with setting spray. Make sure your mascara is totally dried. So either apply your mascara and then wait several minutes, or do all of your makeup, do the setting spray, and then apply the mascara. Just be mindful of that. For the fragrance, I want something very light and fresh. I'm going into my Coco Mademoiselle, and this is the body spray. This came out a couple years ago. It's just really nice. It smells like Mademoiselle, but a little bit lighter and fresher, and honestly, it feels very cold and refreshing. So if you've made it to the end of the video, please leave a little ice cube emoji in honor of the heat wave. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I hope you enjoyed today's take. And that's all I have for you guys for today. Hope you enjoyed the finished look. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.